Namaste. Welcome to yoga, this practice of coming into presence. Here in the West, my experience is that we often reserve this gesture and this word namaste for the end of a yoga class, which is fine. But my understanding and experience is that in India and some other places, there's a much more generous offering of this particular gesture and word, namaste, upon greeting people in the morning, saying hello, saying thank you, acknowledging goodness, gratitude, bidding adieu, saying goodbye. So that's kind of sweet and wonderful to imagine this very different way of being in relationship than perhaps we're used to. In Sanskrit, nama is to bow, as, I, and te is you. So namaste, I bow to you. And in yogic culture, certainly there's the awareness of I and you as separate individual forms, these apparent separate beings we are. But there's also the understanding that we each of us, that everything is the expression of one great universal presence. We're all these unique sparks, these unique expressions of the one great presence who's here. So just trying that on, letting that come into your being if that calls to you. If it doesn't, letting it go. But just recognizing that this practice, even though we do it in our individual form, it is a practice of dissolving that form and arriving right here where we're all far more interconnected. So we'll see how that goes during this practice. You know, this is going to be a pretty simple, basic practice. Nothing fancy. We'll work together for about an hour. We'll do some opening of hips and we'll find our front body and back body. We'll open our shoulders. We'll propriocept and align. We'll stand for some poses and then we'll come back down, relax, and end the usual way, lying down. Always, though, please listen to your body, even though we won't be doing anything too challenging. Different things are challenging for different ones of us on different days. So that's why it's really great to have props always. I'm going to suggest 2 blocks for this practice. I think you'll also need a strap or a strap-like object. So something long, it can either be a strap, a belt, a scarf. You could even use like a long sleeve t-shirt and hold the arms of the t-shirt. Something where you're going to be able to extend your limbs. Also really nice to have something to sit on, especially at the beginning, but also towards the end when we do our seated poses. Many of us, right, we don't have the openness in our hips to really draw the back of the sacrum in. So it could be sitting on a blanket. You can fold it more times if you need more height. Some people even choose to sit on a block. You could get a pillow from your couch. Something where you can come up on your sit bones and it allows you to bring this lower back body in and under your spine. So just find what you need, set it up, gather your goodies. And once you've done that, find a comfortable seat. Might be cross-legged, it might be on your knees, it might be on a block. Find your way in. And then when you're ready, just let your eyes close. You're always welcome to just to soften and lower your eyes if you don't want to close them. Some way of coming into your own presence, your own body, right here on the mat. Just starting to connect with the breath. So just take a few first easy breaths to land right here. Feel where your sit bones and the base of your body connect to the earth and actively root down. From there, the spine draws up gently tall. And you might just shift a little bit forward and back, or even a little bit side to side, and see if you can find that center line. Really lining up the spine over the sit bones, the head on top of the spine. And then take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, allow the shoulders to drop down. And as you drop the shoulders, just notice where your hands are. If you have them too far out in front, you're going to be holding some tension. So you might move them back a little bit along your thighs so the elbows can drop right beneath the shoulders, relaxed through the forearms, the wrists, the palms, and the fingers. Relaxing down through the hips. And just letting your eyes be soft in their sockets. Allowing the muscles around the eyes to relax. Just relax and widen that space between the eyebrows. Let it open. Let that space smooth out along the eyebrows out to the temples. And then see if you can even smooth out along the sides of the skull, including the ears. Just letting the inner ears be spacious and open. Relax the jaw. And let the tongue relax as well from the root to the tip. Soft breath. Soft inner gaze. Soft mind. Soft heart. And staying soft and quiet inside, just lifting the palms and joining them together, moving them into the center of the chest. Take a nice deep inhale here in through the nose. And on the exhale, slowly bowing the head down, down to the wisdom of the heart. And on your next inhale, slowly bringing the head back up, allowing the hands to come down to the thighs. And as you're ready, opening the eyes. Thank you for that. So we'll start this practice lying down on our backs. And if you bring your block and a strap and have them near, we won't use them right away, but we'll want them in a moment. Strap and block nearby. And then let's come down into Supta Baddha Konasana. So the soles of the feet together, knees are falling open. You might press your hands down and just lift your hips and draw your tailbone long if you have a long sacrum. Then let the feet relax, the knees open, and maybe one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart, and just close your eyes and land right here again. Sacrum pressing down into the earth. Back of the head, the skull pressing down into the earth. See if you can let the backs of the shoulders relax down too. And soften your face. And just stay here for some sweet breaths. Or you might gently roll the back of the skull a couple times side to side. Loosening the neck. Just feeling the weight of the back of the head as it rolls gently. And coming back to center if you're moving. Take one more deep breath in through the nose. And on your exhale, bring your hands down around outside your thighs, a little bit of support to bring the knees back up to center. Let the feet settle for a moment on the earth. And then drawing the knees in, you might give yourself a little squeeze. You might rock a couple times back and forth. You could circle the knees. And then finding stillness in the center. Let's lift the flex feet up and find happy baby. So the hands might be at the shins. They might come to the ankles. You might be able to clip with your fingers the outside of your flexed feet. Wherever your hands land is perfect. Just gently let the knees draw down as the inner thighs open. Tailbone drawing down. Can you relax the shoulders back down? Again, let the back of the head be heavy and stay still here, or you're welcome to rock a couple times side to side. If today's a rocking day in your practice, stillness is wonderful, but sometimes so is a little bit of movement. So listen to what your body wants. And if you're rocking, coming back to center, let's release the feet down. We're going to find our strap. Start to extend the right leg up. Just reach up so you can get the strap around the ball of the right foot. Hold one end of the strap in each hand, so much so, but let your shoulders come down. So we're not being pulled up. Give yourself enough length. Then you're going to extend the left leg long, flex the feet. Both feet are flexed. And you're going to start to extend the right leg straight up. Draw that right hip down towards your opposite heel so you stay long through the right side. We don't want it scrunching up. There should be a natural curve in your back, so don't press the sacrum down, but can you really breathe into the back of the knees, open both legs, and draw that right thigh bone deep down in the right hip socket. Just see what's right here. Greeting our wonderful legs, starting this journey of finding them and opening them. Then both bits of the strap in the right hand. Flat left palm on the left hip. We're going to anchor that hip down, externally rotate from the top of the hip, that right foot. It's turning out, and slowly start to open that leg out to the right. Go slowly enough that you can feel when this left hip wants to start popping up. That's when you stop, re-anchor that left hip, and then see if you can reach from that long inseam of the right leg all the way out to the inner right heel, the inner big toe mound. Breathing it open. One more breath here. And then slowly start to bring that right leg straight back up. We're going to change the strap in the left hand now. Take your right finger, your thumb, press it into that right hip crease. Really draw that hip crease down towards the opposite heel. Keep your left toes pointing up. You're not going to let them turn out. We're just going to start to cross the right leg. It's an inch or two. It's barely noticeable. You're going to hopefully find that tight spot somewhere in that big hip joint or in your sacrum. For many of us, we actually get a little bit here into the piriformis. And just keep those left toes up, right hip pressing down. Woo! See what's right there. And then go ahead and reach your right arm straight out to the side, palm up, take an inhale, and on an exhale, start to let that right leg cross all the way. You can let the left toes turn out now. And you might come with your leg hovering. You can hold it here. You can give some support underneath if you'd like. You might play with starting to bring the foot a little bit more down. So listen to your body and what's here. Wherever you are, can you keep drawing that right shoulder blade down and away from the right leg? And just find your twist. Heart open, face soft. One more breath. And then slowly, with support, bring that right leg back up. Release your strap, bend the left leg, bend the right. We've got that flexed right foot, and then cross that right ankle just beneath the left kneecap. And then start to draw the left knee in. Maybe your hands come behind the left thigh. Some of you might be able to reach in front of the shin, but flex both feet now and gently draw that left knee in towards you. It might just be the tiniest bit as you press the right knee away, shoulder blades down, throat open, and maybe even holding this as you slowly, even energetically uncurl the tailbone. And just nourish the pose with breath as you stay, noticing any sensations. One more breath here. And then release the clasp. Let the foot come down, uncross the right, and just take a breath here in constructive rest in the middle. Maybe notice if the different sides of your body feel a little different right now. Then let's find the strap and explore the other side. So extending the left leg straight up. Strap right around the ball of the foot, one bit of the strap in each hand. Extend the right leg long, flex those toes, flex the left toes, and then notice if this left hip is scrunching up at all. You want to draw it down towards the opposite heel to keep length through this left side. As you breathe, open the back of the knees, shoulders down, heart open, really straighten the legs and really draw that left thigh bone down deep into the left hip socket. Breathe. Okay, taking both bits of the strap in the left hand, flat right palm right on that right hip bone. We're going to anchor it down. Externally rotate from the deep high in the hip, the left. And then as you keep that right hip bone anchored, slowly starting to extend that left leg out. And again, go slowly so you're supporting the body as it's moving, but also you're noticing when this right hip is going to roll. As soon as it rolls in, we're not opening that inner left leg anymore. So stop, stabilize. From there, extend through the left inseam, through that inner left foot. Breathe. Open slowly. We're in no rush. And then slowly bringing that leg all the way back up, changing the strap in the right hand. And now you're going to take your left thumb, really press it down in that crease to draw that hip down towards those right toes. The right toes are going to stay up. The minute they turn out, we've lost the coordinates we're setting up here. So slowly start to cross the left. It's such a small movement. If you keep drawing this left hip down and you keep those right toes up, you're going to come to a tight spot pretty quickly. Most of us do. Can you be here and breathe? Whatever you're finding, give it your attention, your awareness, your breath, and then reach that left arm straight out, palm up. You're going to let the right toes turn out now. And again, I would love you to go slowly so you can support your body as it's moving. We're in no rush. We're finding this twist. We're keeping this left shoulder back and down. We're extending the left leg out. You're welcome to place something under the left leg or foot. If it feels like it's hanging there and it's uncomfortable, draw the left shoulder down, soft face, breathe. And then slowly beginning the journey back up. Support yourself, bring that left leg up, release the strap, bend the legs, both legs down, and then bend that left knee in, flex the foot, ankle just beneath the kneecap, draw the right knee in, find your clasp behind the thigh, maybe in front of the shin. Both feet flex now, really important, especially the left. And then gently start to draw the right knee in. Just a little bit. Can you press the left knee away as you do that? Shoulder blades back and down, neck, no tension. And then gently uncurling the tailbone a little bit. And just sending breath throughout your whole being. Slow and steady. One more breath right here. And then release the clasp, uncross the leg, feet down, just find the middle. Take a breath. And then we're going to take our block. We're just going to do a little bit of core. I want to wake up and connect us to our front of our body, our core. So it's not going to be too extreme. So place the block the long way, right where you can press the knees in. Flex the feet. See if you can get the shins perpendicular. Get your hips even. And then we're going to reach the arms forward and we're going to lift the shoulders. And we're just going to do these tiny little lifts. It's an inch or two. See if you can keep the thighs vertical. If you want a little bit of support behind your head, use a hand. Draw the belly down each time. And then this next one, come up and stay up. Draw the belly down. Lift the shoulders. We're just going to have both hands together outside the right thigh. So we're just finding a little bit of that side front core, that oblique. Come back center. Palms together outside the left thigh. Just moving into that side a little bit. And then coming back to center. And then we're going to straighten the legs up, feet flexed, hug that block, bring your hands around behind the back of your head. And we're just going to do little lifts here. The shoulders just come up a little bit, keeping the throat open, drawing the belly down. And then come up and stay there, and then see if you can just lift your hips a couple times. It does get a little bit more intense. If you can let the feet go straight up, 2 more of those. And then lift the hips, lift the shoulders, reach the arms up. See how much you can Lift up off the mat. One more. Oh, and then bend your knees, let it go. See, it wasn't too bad. Stretch the arms, the legs long. Stretch the belly. Take a big inhale here. And then open the mouth, tongue out. Let's do one more lion's breath. Inhale, fill up. Exhale. Nice. Hands around behind the thighs, bend the knees. Let's just rock and roll forward and back a couple times. Massaging the spine. And then come on up, and we're going to take that block and we're going to set up for our Virasana, and we're going to bring our strap with us. So I'll show you sideways, but then I'm going to face you. So you're going to place your ankles outside the block. It can be this low way. You can have it a little bit higher. You can have two blocks. You might notice when you sit back if you need a little bit more height. And then you're going to see if you can actually bring the knees together. They may not actually touch, but draw them towards one another. Really get the sacrum down on the block. And then take your fingers and just spread your sweet little toes. See if you can press all 10 of them down. And then just rest the hands on the thighs for a moment, spine long. See if you can feel your inner thighs draping down. We're drawing the back of the spine in, like there's a string pulling the crown of the head up. Now keep all that. We're going to place our palms together, place the right thumb over the left, and just let the fingers follow and interlace. We're going to stretch the palms forward, super straight arms. Draw your floating ribs in, and on your inhale, just start to come up. Reaching the arms overhead, aiming the palms up towards the sky. Can you really straighten the arms, squeezing the elbows in? Squeeze the sides of the body in to lift up through the torso, like you're picking your ribs up off your waist. Reach up, and then slowly bring the arms down, bend them, release, and then palms together, left thumb on top first. Press the palms forward, draw the floating ribs in, and then inhale to slowly bring the arms up. So we're just finding our way into our shoulders. Pressing up through the inner and the outer hand. Hug the outer arms in, hug the elbows in, find all that length, and then slowly bring the hands down, release, let it go. Okay, we're going to inhale the arms out to the side. And then on an exhale, we're going to bring the right arm under to find eagle arms. So it could be one wind, it might be two winds. If your shoulders don't like that, you can just adjust. It's plenty. Hug your outer shoulders. So either way, we're dropping the shoulders down, gently lift the elbows slightly, and then we're going to shear the head back a little bit so it's lined up over the spine, and just gently move the hands a little bit away from the face. And just be here and breathe. And then slowly let that go. Inhale the arms out to the side, and then exhale, we're going to bring the left arm under. So find your eagle or do the same variation you did on the other side, whatever works for you. Long spine, let the shoulders come down, gently lift the elbows. Draw the head back so it's not jutting forward. Let your eyes be soft on the horizon and just be here and breathe. One more breath, and then let it go. Now we're going to come into Gomukhasana, cow-faced arms. If you know you need a strap to connect your hands, I'm going to ask you to place a strap over your left shoulder. We're going to inhale the arms out to the side, and then keep the right arm coming up, palm facing back. Pat your upper back with that flat palm. Use your left fingertips just to help draw that elbow a little bit higher and behind your head. Keep that as you reach that left arm out. Internally rotate from the shoulder, reach around, and you're either going to clasp your hands or you're going to use your strap right there to connect the two hands. So find your way in. And once you have a clasp, just settle in, breathing in and out through the nose, face is soft. Right, we get in these funny positions and we let breath and gravity do the work. See if we can find some ease right in the center of that. One more breath. Then release your clasp or your strap, unwind your arms, maybe a little bit of organic movement. And then if you're a strap user or whatever object you're using, you're going to go ahead and place it on the other shoulder. Sometimes we need it on one side or not the other, so we'll see. Inhale the arms out to the side, and then keep that left hand coming up, palm turns back, up or back. Use the opposite fingertips. Draw that shoulder, elbow up, behind. Gently press the head back. Keep it there. Internally rotate the right. Reach around behind. You've got the strap right there, or you can find fingertips. Some way to connect to create a little bit of leverage. So as we stay here and breathe, gently the shoulders can open. These wonderful shoulders. One more breath. And then slowly release, unwind, maybe a little bit of organic movement. And then let's go ahead and move the strap and the block off to the side. We're going to do one more seated asana, just to open our hips a little bit in the side body. So start by coming into Dandasana. This is a place where, once again, you might choose to sit on your blanket or a block, because when we do these seated postures, we want the back of the sacrum to be able to come in. So I'm going to do it on my blanket, sitting straight up. And then we're going to bend the left leg in first, and then the right leg, and we're going to find our Sukhasana. So Sukhasana is bent knees, a little bit of flexion in the feet, and then the knees come a little bit narrower than an ordinary cross-legged position. Find your nice tall spine. And then we're going to crawl our right fingertips out to the side. Inhale the left arm up, turn the palm in, root down through that left sit bone as you start to lean over to the right. See if you can keep your heart open. And again, anchoring that left sit bone, that's the anchor, and we're pulling from there through our left side body gently to open through the side. Maybe you look forward, maybe you play with looking up. Reach to the fingertips, see how much length you can find. And as you stay and breathe, if there's just a little bit more elasticity. One more breath. And then inhale, reach that arm back up. You're back to your tall spine. Another inhale, reach both arms up. And then on an exhale, start to come forward. Your flexed feet are your brakes. So depending on your body, you might come this far forward. And then you're just going to stay there with the sit bones down, tall spine. Some of you might play with coming down a little bit more and using the block as a pillow. You can use two blocks as the pillow if your head doesn't quite, see, this is fun with blocks too, right? So now I'm able to rest the front of the brain while I sink my hips back. Some of you are going to have no block, and you might play with coming all the way down or a much lower block. And then you might reach the arms forward, or you can do something else that feels good. But each of you find your edge. Let the sit bones be heavy, and take some nice deep breaths into the sacrum, around the back of the hips. Let the belly be soft. And then place your hands down wherever you are so you have a little bit of support as you bring yourself all the way back up. And then let's go ahead and come back to our Dandasana staff pose, up on the sit bones. And then we're going to bend the right leg in first and then the left. Find your Sukhasana. Get back up on the sit bones. Nice, tall, straight spine. And then we're going to crawl the left fingertips out. Inhale the right arm first straight up, palm in. Now root down through that right sit bone. As you inhale, keep that rooted as you start to reach through the right side body, keeping the heart open to the front, supporting yourself with that bottom hand. If it's okay on your neck, maybe you want to start to look up, lift the heart, turn, lengthen, be right here. One more breath. And then inhale to come out of the pose, tall spine. And then inhale again, reach both arms out and up. And exhale, start to come forward. You can build your block pillow at any height. You can bring yourself down and just rest on the hands, sit bones reaching back. Some of you might start to bring the forehead down. You might start to reach forward. So find what's right for your body right now. And once you find that spot, let go of the fidgeting and just be here and breathe. And then using your hands for some support, inhale to bring yourself back up. Really nice. Okay, let's move our props out of the way, whatever you have. I'm going to leave one block. Actually, let's put both blocks at the beginning of the head of the mat because we might need them sometime soon. And let's just come into our child's pose. So it's the feet towards the back of the mat, the big toes touch, the knees are hips distance, they could be wider. Start to crawl yourself forward. Now, some of you might need a block or blocks here to rest the head because it might be that your forehead doesn't come all the way down. Or you lay yourself down, the forehead comes down, elbows are bent, just allowing the weight of the body to sink down. Can you let your hips sink down and back over the heels? So what is it like to yield in this face down position, down to the earth? Deep breaths into the back body, around the hips. Let the belly be soft. So keeping the hips this heavy, can you start to crawl the hands forward until your elbows are straight? Look up, get your hands shoulder distance. Spread the hands, bring the forehead back down. Now explore each finger, reaching, pressing, making contact with the mat. Hug your outer arms in. Slightly roll your triceps down to broaden the upper back. Just feel the feel of the hands, the straight arms, the broad upper back. Now keep that as you slowly start to press down into the knees to come up to all fours. And then walking the knees in so they're hips distance under the hips. And the wrist creases are shoulder distance under the shoulders. Again, spread the hands and see if you can get your wrist creases parallel with the front of the mat. So most of us need to turn our hands out just a little bit. And then on an inhale, we're going to come into cow. So just start to drop the belly a little bit, open the heart, let the groins go back. And on an exhale, press down into the palms, coil the navel into the spine, big cat back, arch, arch, arch. Slowly inhale, coming down through neutral, open the heart, the groins go back. Exhale, pressing and rounding, drawing it in. Big arch, a couple more on your own. Go slowly. Let your breath guide the movement. If you find a sweet spot, you can pause. If you want to add an extra wiggle somewhere, that's fine too. Just finding the river of our spine and encouraging it just to open and flow a little bit. And then coming back to a neutral spine. You're going to walk the knees back a couple inches, tuck your toes, respread the palms, the fingers, straight elbows, draw the triceps down. Keep all of that as you slowly start to lift the hips up and back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. And for the first couple breaths, if you like to pedal your legs, if you like to wiggle your hips around, if you like to turn your head, pick up your feet, whatever feels good, find your way in. And once you've wiggled around enough, just coming to stillness, really working on lifting the hips up and back. It helps to press the hands forward and down. Open up under the armpits. Think of pressing the upper thighs up and back. How much length can you find through the torso? The heels are reaching down towards the earth. They may not reach, but can you really breathe open the backs of the knees? Now, root down through your feet. You're going to pick up one hand then the other and just walk the hands back till you're hanging in Uttanasana. So make sure your feet are hips distance and parallel. Put a bend in the knees and let your torso fold down over the legs. Let the head go. Clasp opposite elbows and let your elbows be like little weights, drawing your torso down. Let's just take a few cleansing breaths. So in through the nose, open the mouth, sigh it out. Two more. And then changing the clasp of the elbows. You're welcome to keep the legs bent, or you can start to work to straighten them. If you want to turn the head side to side a couple times, might want to nod forward and back. And then just coming to stillness, weight drifting towards the toes. And let the hands come down. Now look up a little bit. One hand at a time, you're going to start walking back out to your dog. See how much weight you can keep in the heels, right? In dog, we really want some of that weight back in the legs. We don't want it all dumping in the hands. Eventually, we need to transfer some of it to the hands. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then on your next inhale, you're going to glide forward and come into your plank pose. We won't be here long. Just come forward, shoulders over the wrists, super straight legs. Press down through the palms and then support under the belly and the heart. The gaze is slightly forward. Bring your knees down at any time. Breathe. And then let's all bring our knees down. Come about an inch forward and just slowly bring yourself down to the mat, all the way down onto your belly. Untuck the toes. We're going to take one of our blocks. We're going to take it the long, narrow way, and we're going to place it high between our thighs. Bring the thighs back together. Roll over on your belly. Get your inner thighs rotating in, all 10 toes down. And then reach your arms forward, palms turning in. Reach the legs long, and first just see how much length you can find. Draw the tailbone back towards the heels. Tone the belly. Now keep all of that. Reach around behind and interlace your fingers. If you can't quite interlace, you can hook thumbs. Bend the elbows. Draw them towards each other. Get the shoulder blades on the back. Draw the tailbone long. So we're just finding and propriocepting the back of our core. Shoulder blades on the back, toes down. Can you inhale, lift the head, maybe start to lift the heart. Maybe even a little bit from under the ribs. Reach the hands back, a little bit off the lower back if you can. Open the heart. Stay here, or you might play with squeezing the block and adding the feet. One more breath. And then let it go. Undo the hands, turn the head to one side, just land on your mat, take a breath or two. You might sigh it out. Okay, we'll try that one more time. So bring the forehead down, straight legs. Can you reach around, interlace your fingers the other way, the weird way. Bend elbows towards each other so our collarbones are open, shoulder blades on the back, legs reaching back, all the toes down, tone the belly. Inhale, come up, Shalabhasana. So keep the gaze slightly down. We're not yanking on the head. Shoulder blades on the back. Hug that block. Maybe lift the toes. Maybe take one more breath, lift everything a little bit more. And then exhale, turn the head the other way, land again. Whew, take a breath. Okay, so bring your forehead straight down again. Flat palms right by your lower ribs. Your elbows come in. Straight legs again, all 10 toes down. Draw the tailbone back to the heels. Hug the block. And just come up and find your cobra. It might be an inch or two. You might start to press the hands or come up a little bit more. Shoulders down, elbows in. And then let's slowly come down. And then see if you can keep the block as you just press back up to all fours. Tuck your toes. Press back, downward facing dog. Maybe still with the block. And then reach up if you can. Just move the block out. Look forward, bend your knees. Take as many steps as you need, but you're going to step one foot and then the other to the top of the mat. Feet are hip distance. Fold over again. A little bit of bend in the knees. And then shift the weight to the heels. Tuck your lower back a little bit and slowly start to roll up. One vertebrae at a time. Rooting down through the feet. The head is the last to come up. Really nice. So if you stay at the front of your mat, I'm just going to turn to face you. We're going to find our Tadasana. So the big toes touch, the heels are slightly apart. The hands come to heart center. Press your palms into one another. It helps to find the midline. And then shift your weight through a little bit in your heels. Draw your upper thighs back. Gently shear the head back a little bit. Shoulders relax. Mountain pose. And then on an inhale, release the hands and reach the arms out and up into Urdhva Hastasana. If for any reason you're not comfortable here with your feet together, you're welcome to separate your feet if that's what your pelvis and your hips need. So wherever your feet are, root down through the feet, reach up through the fingertips. See if it's okay on your neck. You might start to look up and see how your shoulders are doing, right? We open them a little bit, so maybe the palms can join overhead. If not, keep the hands apart. Take an inhale here, and then on an exhale, open your arms and slowly swan dive all the way down. You want to keep the back straight. You're welcome to put a bend in the knees. And as you come down, this is why we have the blocks in case you need them. Some of you might find that once you come to wherever you are, you actually want the blocks right under your hands to support you because that's what your body needs. Some of you might find that you can place your hands on your thighs so you can lengthen the spine. Maybe the hands come on the shins. Maybe even the fingertips come down. But I would like you somewhere, right, where you're coming out of this convex, you're able to lengthen your spine and send the tailbone back. So again, that might be up on blocks. So take a breath here. And then on an exhale, fold down in as much as you can. Keep that spine long. And on an inhale, sweep the arms out and up. And exhale, the hands come down to heart center, Tadasana, mountain pose. So let's flow through two of those together on the breath. These are half sun salutes. Inhale, reach. Exhale, leading with the heart, straight back, bend the knees if you need. Your Uttanasana. Inhale, come halfway up. That's that long spine. Place your hands somewhere to find length. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Reach it tall, root down through the feet. Exhale, hands come down through heart center and keep it going. Inhale, reach. Exhale, slowly, like you're moving through water, all the way down. Inhale, your version of halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, long spine as you can. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Really nice. Okay, we'll continue on. Inhale, reach. Exhale, forward fold, all the way down. Inhale, halfway up. And then exhale, this time plant your hands down, shoulder distance, and step back. Find your plank pose. Bring your feet together at the back of the mat. We're going to bring the right knee down. We're going to set the back foot down so our toes are right at that arch in the middle. Walk your right wrist in so it's under your shoulder and a little bit forward. Firm this right hip in, and you're just going to play with opening up to your Vashisthasana on the knee. So this is balancing, this is fun, this is wobbly. Draw the tailbone long, open your heart, reach up with that top hand. You can look down, side, or up, and then look down. Bring that left hand down, plant your hands shoulder distance, turn that back heel up, step back, you're right in your plank with your feet together. And then you're going to bring your left knee down right under the hip. Back foot down, arch in line with the toes. Walk that left wrist a little bit forward of that left shoulder, but right under. Firm the belly in, draw the hip in, and then play with this Vashisthasana on the knee. Open your heart. Play with where you're looking with your eyes. Take up space. One more breath. Then look down. Right hand comes down. Flip that back heel up. You're back in your plank and press the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Just find your dog again. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Now we're going to inhale the right leg back behind, all the way up into three-legged dog. Take a breath here, and before we step forward, remember, you're going to draw the knee in close to your chest. You're going to make a big cat back, and you'll take as many steps as you need to get to the front of the mat. So inhale here, and then exhale, bend that right knee, start to shift forward, draw the knee in, look down, take as many steps as you need, long lunge. And when you get that foot to the front, again, you're welcome to use blocks here. Bring yourself up a little bit so you can find length in your spine, or you can have fingertips, your choice. But really stand in that front heel, get it right under that front knee, and find the connection of the heel into the knee, back that hip, the thigh bone into the hip joint on the right side. So firm that right hip back and in. Can you let the hips come down? Give yourself enough space between the feet that the hips can come down, so much so that maybe you can bring that back knee down. So we're going to put a little weight on that back knee. If it's sensitive, you can fold the mat for some padding, or you can use a blanket or a pillow. Move the knee back an inch, and then on an inhale, come on up, Anjaneyasana. We turn the palms in. We keep letting the hips come forward. Draw the tailbone down. See if you can lift the belly. Maybe start to lift the front of the body. Maybe looking up past your fingertips, reaching up past your fingertips. Take an inhale here, and then exhale, bring the hands down through heart center. Take another inhale here, and then we're going to twist to the right. So first twist, then start to come forward. You can bring that right hand outside the right thigh to help nestle the elbow across. And then bring your palms back together. Send the hips back. Reach out through the crown of the head and spin your heart up towards your hands. Some of you stay here, or some of you might just want to play with straightening that back leg. Breathing. If you've got that back leg straight, slowly bring the knee back down. We're going to inhale, come back to center. We're going to bring both hands down inside that front foot, and then find one of your blocks. It could be at any height. We're going to come down on our forearms inside that front knee. So some of you are going to need a high block. Some of you can play with a lower block. It's a big hip opener, so don't force anything. Take breaks when you need. You can always go to child's pose. And if you're staying here and breathing, just seeing if you can lengthen the spine a little bit, maybe lift your gaze. Breathe. Keep standing on that inner front foot. One more breath. And then slowly come off the block, move it to the side. You're going to frame your front foot, straighten the back leg. We're reversing that stepping forward. Can you just pick up the front foot and step back into your downward facing dog? Find your center, feel the difference on the two sides of the body, find your breath. Okay, let's try the other side. You're going to inhale the left leg back behind. Take a few breaths here, even out through the hands, right to left. And then see it before you do it. When you bend that back leg, you're going to shift forward, arch your back, bend the knee into the body, and take as many steps as you need. So inhale here, and then exhale, start to shift forward, bend the knee in, round the upper back, look down, see all of that space, and then step through, long lunge. And no matter how many steps you take, come up enough that that heel is right under that front knee. Again, feel free to use your blocks, right? With the support of props, we can find such cleaner alignment. Blocks at any height or fingertips, firming this left hip back and in, really seeing if you can find the connection between the front heel, the front knee, sending the energy back into that hip socket. Letting the hips come down. Letting the back knee come down. Moving it back an inch and then patting it if you'd like that for your knee. Keeping the hips forward, we're going to inhale, come up Anjaneyasana. Turning the palms in, drawing the tailbone down, drawing the belly in, starting to lift through the whole front body as we perhaps lift our gaze or not, your choice. Can you reach up past the fingertips, up to the sky? Big inhale here, and then exhale, hands come down through heart center. Now inhale, find length again. Exhale, twisting at the waist, starting to come forward. You can use that hand outside the thigh to really cross the elbow outside the knee. And then hug your hips in. Keep drawing that left hip back. Reach out through the crown of the head and spin your heart up towards your joined palms. Doesn't quite turn all the way, but we can try. Stay right here breathing, where you're going to play with straightening that back leg. Breathe wherever you are. Maybe smile. Got that back leg straight, slowly bending it. We're going to inhale to come back up to center. And then both hands inside that front foot. Move the left foot a little bit to the left. Find your block. Choose your height. You're going to come down on your forearms inside that front left leg. Keep hugging that left leg in. Can you let the hips come down? And then just soft, deep breath in and out through the nose, sending breath throughout your whole body. Let's be right here. Just notice what's right here. One more breath right here. And then we're going to come off the block, move it to the side, frame the front foot with flat hands if you can, straighten the back leg, and now we're just stepping backwards the same way. So round the back, pick the foot up, step back, downward facing dog. Find your center, find your breath. Okay, inhale the right leg back. Exhale, step it forward and through all the way to the front, as many steps as you need. Move that right foot a little bit to the right so you've got hip distance between your feet. Welcome to have your hands on blocks. Once you get steady here, inhale, come on up, crescent. So it's a lunge, right? It's a lunge. We're drawing the tailbone down. We're lifting the belly. We're still rooting in that front heel, up through the knee, back into that hip. We're moving the right hip slightly back and the left hip forward. And again, like Anjaneyasana, if you want to play with balance, you might start to look up, lifting the front of the body, reaching up past the fingertips. Maybe the palms touch overhead. Take a big inhale. And then exhale slowly. Hands come down through heart center. Bring your hands down on blocks or the floor. And then step back, downward facing dog. Landing right here again. And you're going to inhale the left leg back behind. Exhale, step it forward and through all the way to the front of the mat, as many steps as you need. And then move that left foot a little bit to the left. Hands are on blocks or the mat. Hug that left hip back and in. Bend strongly in that front leg. And once you feel steady, inhale, come on up. Crescent lunge. Just weight in that front heel. Shifting the outer left hip back, the outer right hip slightly forward, drawing the belly in. Lifting through the belly, the heart. If you feel steady enough to play with your gaze, maybe looking up, maybe reaching up even higher as the hips sink, maybe just touch the palms overhead. Big inhale here, and then exhale, hands come down through heart center, all the way down if you can, blocks or the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Even it out, find your breath, find your steadiness. Welcome to come down on the knees, take a few breaths in child's pose. And then we'll meet in downward facing dog. Then the next exhale, bend the knees and look forward. Step one foot and then the other to the top of the mat, as many steps as you need, feet together. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, hands come down to heart center. Tadasana. Really nice. So let's come to the center of our mat facing the long way, the long side, and let's just leave a block at either side of our mat in case we're going to use those. Nice to have. And finding your Tadasana, feet together or apart, palms pressing into one another. Find that plumb line from root feet to crown head. Then we're going to open the arms. We're going to spread our legs, and we're going to find a wide stance, ankles under the elbows, the wrists, feet parallel to start. And then we're going to externally rotate the right foot, slightly turn the back foot in, and then line up so your front heel lines up with your back arch, or if you want a little bit more space for your pelvis, line up so the heels line up. Either one is perfect. Take an inhale, draw the tailbone down, and then on an exhale, just start to slowly bend that right knee. So we're going slowly, so we keep opening this knee over the second toe. You want to be able to see your right big toe inside that knee. Then bring your hands to your hips for a minute. Notice if the front hip is dumping down a little bit. It's very common. You might just play with using your hands to even your hips. Then re-extend the arms. Back leg straight. Can you bring your awareness to the outer edge of the back foot and the inner edge of the back foot? Press down. From there, that should help you bend even a little bit more in your front knee. Can you keep drawing the tailbone underneath you? And then let these left ribs roll back. So we're not squaring the hips. That back hip comes forward, but we are squaring the chest. And we're gazing out over the fingertips. Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. And take one more breath right here. And then we're slowly going to straighten the front leg. So your choice for Trikonasana triangle, some people like a really wide stance. Some people like to bring it in a little bit. You're going to let the hips go back. Reach out with that front arm. See if you can keep the torso facing the side. And then this is a great place for a block right under your shoulder. See, with a block, I can get so much length and openness with my body. If you're here and you're like, well, I could use a little bit more, you can take your block down to another height. You can bring your hand to the shin or the ankle. Some people bring their hand down inside or outside that front foot. And then play. Do you want to keep your gaze down? Maybe if you're playing with balance, might you look out to the side? Or maybe you start to look up. But draw the tailbone underneath. Roll the chest open. Take one more big breath here. Then can you press down through both feet equally? Slowly come up. And then hands on the hips, turn that right foot in. And then let's come in about a third of the distance. And then we're going to turn our feet out slightly. Might have to adjust that when we come down, we'll see. We're going to inhale, reach up, open. And then on an exhale, hands come down through heart center and just come slowly into a squat. Doesn't have to be deeply exaggerated. Can you draw? Right, we're drawing the tailbone underneath. We're opening the knees out of our second toe. Press the palms into one another to help find the midline. Maybe pick up the toes, get the weight in the heels. Notice if you're pitching forward, can you draw the head slightly back? Now can you stay here, but just open your arms to goddess pose? And you could stay here as a still goddess, or maybe you're a little bit of a sassy goddess, especially if you have some music playing in the background. You might goddess your hips around a little bit. And then if you bring the hips quiet, you could play with finding that goddess movement at the waist. And then if you keep the waist quiet, you might find the goddess at the neck. And if you do that, you can see if the eyes want to get involved. This is all to distract us. I hope it's working. And then slowly coming back to center. And then press down to reach up. Hands come down to heart center. Bring the feet in, find your Tadasana. Aha. Okay, arms out to the side. Find your wide stance. And then we're going to turn that left foot out, parallel with the side of the mat. Back foot slightly turned in. And then make your choice, heel to heel or heel to arch. Take an inhale. And on an exhale, maybe checking out that big toe in the front as you slowly bend. Warrior 2. And then bring your hands to your hips again just for a moment. So that back hip's coming forward, because what we're tracking is this front knee being open. And then notice if you're dumping a little bit in that front hip, which is common, just gently evening out the hips as you keep that front knee open. And then re-spreading the arms, relaxing the shoulders. And then just a moment to find the strength and the sturdiness of that back leg. So find the outer edge of the foot, the inner edge of the foot. Press back into that leg, ground down in that front heel, and then roll these right ribs back. Gaze out over the left fingertips. Be here and breathe. One more breath. And then slowly straightening that front leg and making a choice about the length of your stance. And then being sassy, letting the hips go back. Keep some softness in this front knee. We're not jamming it back. And then maybe starting with a block, just to see what it's like to have all the spaciousness, right? Really be able to rest that hand, stack the shoulders, open the heart, stay here, or play with, can I stay that open? Right, the minute I start pitching forward, my hand's too low. I need to come back up. Look down, look side, look up. Draw the tailbone underneath you. Roll the heart open, lean back into that great universal presence that we're all and each an expression of. One more breath here. And then press down through both feet. Slowly come back up. Hands on the hips. Let's turn that left foot in. And then let's come in a third of the distance again, but keep our feet parallel. So we're setting up for Prasarita Padottanasana. Feet parallel, straight legs. Draw the tailbone down, lift the belly. Take a nice big inhale. And then on an exhale, you're welcome to put a little bend in the knees, but can you send the hips back? Can you play with keeping your spine long? Come halfway down and then make choices, right? We've got our 2 blocks. This is a great place, right here, or at some other height. Some of you might be able to bring your fingertips right under your shoulder. Long spine. If you feel like you've got more, some of you are going to fold in. You might start to walk the hands back so the wrist creases are right under the elbows. The elbows are hugging in. They're like our chaturanga hands, and we're aiming the crown of the head down. As we root through the feet, hug those outer ankles in, send the hips up. Breathe and be right here. Weights drifting towards the toes, breathing open the backs of the knees as much as you can. And then we're all on an inhale, come halfway up, blocks or fingertips. Bring your hands to your hips, hug your elbows in. Welcome to have a bend in the knees, but can you slowly on an inhale come up with a straight back? All the way up. Nice. And then bring your feet together. Find your Tadasana mountain pose. We're going to play with one more standing pose, Vriksasana. So for tree, some people like to come off the mat. It's easier to balance on a floor. I have walls. Maybe you have a wall. It's always fine to go and stand near a wall or use a wall to help with a one-legged balancing pose. So starting on 2, rooting down through both feet. And then we're going to root down through the right foot, all 4 corners of that right foot. Start with a kickstand. What is it like just to have this left foot here? This is tree. Stay here. You might play with bringing that left foot right up to your calf. Or you can reach down, find your ankle, and stand on the inner right leg. Really press that foot in as you press the inner right thigh back into the foot. Hands on the hips will help you realize, oh, is this left hip drifting back? Is it hiking up? Once you've got the hips even, pressing the palms into one another. That will help you find your midline. Shear the head back slightly. Stay right here or grow some limbs. Is this practice one where we want to reach out? Maybe, maybe not. It's different every time. We know that when we really pay attention. If you're reaching, any expression with the arms, can you draw the tailbone down? Really stand on that whole left foot, wherever you have it, pressing into your right leg. And if it's just feeling too easy, play with lifting your gaze. See what's right here. Take one more breath, fullest expression. And then slowly, the hands come down to heart center and just let the pose dissolve. Coming out. If you want to shake it out. Beautiful. I imagine, even though I can't see, I can see in my heart's eye. Really nice work. Let's try the other side. So we start rooting on 2 feet, hands on the hips, steady and calm. Then moving our weight into the left, starting with a little kickstand. Just getting a taste of this one leg, staying here or maybe calf. Staying here or maybe reaching down. Bringing that foot all the way up into the inner thigh crease. And then we have our hands here because usually that right hip is now come up and back. So get them even if you can. Then bring the hands to heart center. And feel the press of the hands into one another, just like the press of the foot into the leg and the leg into the hand. And feel how that steadies the center line. Stay right here. Or if you'd like to grow some limbs, reaching, opening, taking up space, going slowly to stay steady, grounded. And so what is this being grounded, rooted, while also reaching and opening? Again, if it's super easy in this moment, you want a little more challenge, try lifting the gaze. And take one more breath wherever you are. And then slowly hands come down to heart center and just as mindfully letting go. just as mindfully as we came in, and then shaking it out. Lovely, the lovely trees. Okay, we're going to find our way down now. So coming back one last time, Tadasana mountain pose. Close your eyes for a moment. Just feel whatever there is to feel, notice, observe. And then blinking the eyes open. Now, can you hug your outer hips and your whole outer legs and slightly tuck your tailbone? See if that gives you enough support to slowly come down into a squat. You might have to go more quickly. You might have to lean forward. Just see what it's like to come down. Can you balance here for a moment, pressing the hands? Maybe play with opening the knees. And maybe play with a lotus mudra. So lotus is we open our fingers except the pinky and the thumb. They stay connected. This beautiful lotus flower. And maybe the lotus, right, is rising towards the light from the mud. Maybe we bring our lotus up onto the crown chakra. Maybe we open, reach way up into the heavens, into the oneness of it all. And then we slowly bring ourselves back down through our center to the ground. So coming down, hands come to the heart, knees come together, and then slowly just coming down, having a seat. So we'll move our blocks to the side. So we're going to come into Upavishta Konasana, which is, right, our straddle. We're all going to have different straddles here. I am going to highly recommend sitting on something. If you've got a nice open straddle and you know you don't need to sit on something, that's fine. But for many of us, right, we don't have the openness. This is going to be what happens. So the higher we can get up on something, the more we can come up on our sit bones and just even work on bringing the back of the spine in. So I might even, if I had a little bit tighter lower back, I would even sit on a block. And for those of us who are just really struggling to even find a straight spine, this is going to be plenty. Give yourself enough support. Bring your hands behind you, press up on your sit bones, and use the support of your hands to just work on lengthening your spine up. If you're someone who has a little bit more opening, whether you're sitting on something or not, you might play with bringing your hands forward. Can you keep drawing the sacrum in? And if you can keep your spine long, you might play with starting to come forward a little bit. So things to watch for here, we don't want these legs rolling in. So if you're someone who's really eager to come forward, you have to keep your toes facing up. That's going to be your barrier. You can bring a block or blocks under your forehead to rest the front of the brain. So find your way in. There's no place to get to. It's just we're finding the alignment in our body to be here and breathe. There's a little bit of activity in the legs to keep them long and strong and aligned, but we're not straining. The belly can be soft. The face can be soft. The mind can be soft. And the heart can be soft. I'm just staying and breathing a few more breaths. See what's right here. Staying inside. And then using your hands, supporting yourself if you're forward to come up. Now we're all sitting up. And then if you just take your hands under your thighs, give a little bit of support as you lean back. You might go slowly. For some people, this is intense. Bring the legs out, shaking them out. And then let's find our Dandasana, facing the long way on the mat, heels towards the front. I'm going to face you, but again, can you press down so you're up on your sit bones? Again, sitting on a block or blanket, if that's what you need to draw the lower back in. Find that nice long spine. Have your strap nearby just in case, sorry. May or may not need that. So we're going to stay here in our Dandasana. We're going to bend the right leg. It's like tree. It's Janu Shirsasana. We're going to bring that foot high up inside that left thigh. Notice if this right hip has come back, move it a little bit forward. So our knee's not going to come all the way back. It's going to be on an angle. Can you get on your sit bones, whatever they're on? And then we're going to inhale, reach the arms up, and exhale, start to come forward. There's a little bit of a twist in this pose. I'm aiming my heart towards the big toe. So I have to turn in a little bit towards that left leg. This is a great place for a strap, right? So if you hold the strap one in each hand, you can draw the chest through, lengthen the spine. There's no need to go so far forward, but I'm dragging that left hip bone, left thigh bone deep in the socket, straightening that left leg, using that as an anchor to lengthen my spine. For those of you who have a little bit more opening, right, you might grab the foot. You might actually lay down over that front leg. Wherever you are, that combination of effort and ease. So you're not straining, but you're gently finding edges, offering breath, staying and opening. And then on an inhale, can you lengthen your spine wherever you are? Maybe use your hands. Slowly bring yourself up. We're going to straighten the right leg, come through Dandasana if you want to shake it out a little bit. And then back up on your sit bones, whatever they're on, so you can bring that lower back in. Can you keep that length as you bend the left leg? Flat foot right inside that thigh. Again, making sure that hip doesn't come back too far. The hips are even. That left knee is going to be quite on the bias, right? Nice active left foot, right foot. Inhale the arms, so it's like tree, rooting down through the sit bones like they're your feet, reaching up. And then on an exhale, there's the slightest twist, starting to come forward. Even if you have the opening in the leg, you might start the first couple breaths holding the strap, because you can really send the thighs down, the hips back, lift the heart and lengthen. Stay there, or you might start to come forward. You might find the foot. You just notice as you start to come forward, you know, when does the roundness in the back start? Is it a day to stay with a straight back, or is it a day where you welcome the round because it opens something else up? Find your way in. Janu Shirsasana. And as you stay here, holding what needs to be held for the alignment, where can you let go? Where can there just be breath and ease? The supported relaxation inside the pose, inside the effort. Find one more breath right here. And then on your next inhale, bringing yourself up, maybe with some support. And then we're going to go ahead and straighten the left leg. We're back to our Dandasana. Feel free to shake it out. And then we're going to find our Paschimottanasana. So back up on the sit bones, tall spine. Reach both arms out and up. And then on an exhale, starting to come forward. Again, maybe using your strap around the balls of the feet, because that way I don't sacrifice the length of my spine as I continue to open the backs of the legs, lift the heart. Some of you will find your feet. Some of you may fold in. If you're folding in to some degree, you might bring a block right on the shins. So you can rest the front of the brain, even as other parts are working and opening. Paschimottanasana. It's this big stretching opening of the whole back body, from under the feet, up the backs of the legs, along the spine, the back of the neck, up to the crown of the head. And just notice what that's like right now. Being right here in this shape. A few more breaths before we let this one go too. So what is there to notice before this too passes? Okay, supporting yourself on an inhale. Slowly bring yourself all the way up. Back to your Dandasana. Really nice. So we're going to scooch ourselves forward so our legs are bent, knees bent, heels at the front of the mat. And then I'm going to reach forward. I'm going to coil my lower spine and just slowly start to roll down, one vertebrae at a time. Use that nice core support to steady yourself as you come down, all the way down. Bend the feet in. Take a breath here and see if you can get your feet hip distance and parallel. Actually, I think I'd like for you to take a block if you would. One more fun with blocks. We're going to take it the long, narrow way, and we're going to place it between our knees. Don't worry, we're not doing more core, I promise. Press your knees in. This is to keep our hips from externally rotating. Play with your feet for a moment. See if you can find all four corners of each foot, arms by the side, and then press the inner foot to slowly start to lift the hips up. Hugging the block, lifting the pelvis, drawing the tailbone long towards the back of the knees. You can stay here or start to roll your shoulder blades underneath. You might clasp just the edges of the mat for some support to draw the shoulders under, or you might roll an outer shoulder and then another, interlace the fingers, maybe even press the palms. And now drawing the tailbone long, standing on the feet. Can you let the standing and the hugging the block lift your body from underneath, opening the front of the pelvis, the belly, the solar plexus, maybe the heart, into your bridge pose. Notice how that block is keeping your knees aligned, not opening. We want to remember that so we can do that without the block sometimes too. Then can you stay right here, release your hands, just reach the arms over, back of the palms down. Now from your upper spine, exaggerate it. See if you can uncoil one vertebrae at a time, super slowly, letting the body come down till the sacrum comes down. Let's take the block out from between our knees. Let's reach the arms straight out to the side, palms up. And then we're going to take an inhale here. And on an exhale, just let both knees gently come over to the right. So you'll come to the outer right foot, the inner left. Just a gentle making space in the sacrum. You can stay right here, or you might reach the arms overhead, find a wrist. Ooh, and just find a little stretch from the hips, the waist up as the sacrum's opening. And if you've got your arms stretched, reach them out to the side, palms up. And gently bring the knees back up to center. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, rolling to the other side, outer left foot, inner right. Go slowly. Find that loosening, that line, stay here. Or maybe you're going to find the opposite wrist. And then reach, stretch, find some nooks and crannies, give it some breath. And then if you've got the arms up, reach them out to the side, slowly come back onto the feet, the knees come center. Take a breath here in constructive rest with your weight down in the earth. And then if you would find your block, we're going to press the feet down. We're going to lift the hips just enough to slide the block the low way underneath the sacrum. So when you bring the sacrum down, you might need to jostle a little bit to get the right space. Bring your arms out to the side, palms up. And if you press the back of the head down a little bit, you can draw the shoulder blades underneath, just for some support behind the heart. If you feel stable here, maybe lift one knee, then the other. And again, if you feel stable, maybe lift one leg straight up, then the other. If this is not comfortable in the middle of the room, you can always scooch up to the wall, bring your fanny to the wall, and just lay your legs straight up against the wall and lie with that support behind the legs. Otherwise, stay here in the center. See if you can balance your legs so there's very little effort. Maybe close your eyes. Just falling back into yourself, back into the breath. Noticing what's here. Letting the eyes be soft. Relaxing the jaw. Noticing the wave motion of the breath. The body filling and then emptying. And blink the eyes open. And bending one leg and then the other. And bringing one foot down and then the other. Pressing the feet just enough to lift the hips off the block. Letting the sacrum come down. Take a moment here in constructive rest. And then setting up for your final pose, however that's going to be in this practice. It can be legs long, feet flopping open, arms out to the side, away from the body, palms up. If as you try this, there's any discomfort in your lower back, you can place blocks or a blanket behind the knees to support the lower back. You can widen the feet as wide as the mat with the knees bent and just let the knees knock in. Or you're welcome to come back to your Supta Baddha Konasana. But then I would say just place a block under each knee for a little bit of support, as we'll be here for a few moments. So finding your final pose, closing your eyes, you're welcome to cover them. You can cover your body. Any last wiggle. And then once you're done wiggling, once you're here, take a nice deep breath in, filling the body all the way to the top. Sip in a little bit more. Hold it for a moment. Then open your mouth, sigh it out, let it go. Shavasana. Just let yourself drift. So slowly taking your time, starting to bring your awareness back into your body, back into the now, right here. Maybe finding a deeper breath. Maybe some kind of small movement to begin, fingers or toes. Maybe a good morning stretch. And then when you're ready, bending the knees, reaching the right arm out overhead, and just gently letting the knees fall to the right, resting your head on the right biceps like a pillow, and pausing for a moment, staying inside. And then when you're ready, pressing the left palm down, let the head be heavy as you slowly press up. The head is the last to come up, finding your way to a comfortable seat, staying inside, bringing some shavasana with you, and just taking a moment, observing, and then drawing the palms together, moving them into the center of the chest with gratitude for yoga. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you so much. Be well.